Hey everybody, hope everybody's staying safe and healthy and not going stir crazy. So many people are stuck at home in all of this. So today I'm bringing you the very best of the Montreal Canadiens, and that means just all the best between stats, like who was the best that was in the organization, whatever. I don't know how to put it exactly, but it's the very best of the Montreal Canadiens. And yeah, so that's right here at Talking Habs, the home of Habs hockey, where everything's dedicated to the Habs and all things hockey. And if you're a Habs fan and like me and you want to see more videos like this about our favorite team, head down there, subscribe, ring that notifications bell, and that is going to get you your daily fix of Blue Blanc Rouge right here at Talking Habs. And while you're on the way down there to do that, please give a thumbs up if you like the video, and leave any comments you may have in the comment section down there about who I've got here. There's a couple of things here you could say they were my choices, and then there's others that are just obvious. Yeah, let's get right to it. If you give me a second, I am going to get my board ready, and I'll be right back. All right, I found a position where there's no glare on the board. So there we go. So we're going to take a look at, like the best GM, best coaches, those kind of things, players, who has the most points, career-wise, season, stuff like that. So we're going to start off with GM, general manager. Best general manager, in my opinion, was Sam Pollock. Sam Pollock was able to just make miracles. He is the engineer of getting Guy Lafleur, where they traded a player to the LA Kings to keep the LA Kings a little bit better than the Oakland, the Golden Seals, so that they can make the first draft pick, first overall pick, and they got Guy Lafleur. And so Sam Pollock, definitely the best general manager. The guy that followed him might have been the worst guy. His name has even escaped me, but I remember after he left, the guy after was horrible. Coaches, Toe Blake and Scotty Bowman were by far the best coaches in the organization in the history. You might look back and say Dick Irvin was good, yes, but Toe Blake, definitely the best. And then Scotty Bowman joined him later on, winning more cups actually than Toe Blake. I believe Toe Blake won 8 cups here in Montreal, and Scotty Bowman won, I want to say 5. So yeah, coaches, Toe Blake, Scotty Bowman. Captains of the team. For me, the 2 best captains of the team were Jean Beliveau. He was captain for over 10 years or 10 years. Just a great hockey player, Mr. Class. If you look up the word class in the dictionary, they got Jean Beliveau's picture. He was a great player, a great captain, and joining him for me is Saku Koivu. Saku Koivu actually was captain for a little longer than Jean Beliveau. No, he didn't win any cups. He was here at a really bad time for the team, but he was a great leader, a great hockey player, just a great guy all around. Saku Koivu, one of my favorite Montreal Canadiens of all time. Forwards. So instead of breaking it down, by right wing, left wing, and center, I just put best forward. For me, the team's all-time points leader, my favorite player of all time, Guy Lafleur, who had 518 goals, 728 assists for 1,246 points. Best defenseman in the history of the Montreal Canadiens, I think without a doubt, Doug Harvey. Doug Harvey was the guy that allowed Bobby Orr to be Bobby Orr. Doug Harvey changed the way the game was played for defensemen. He controlled the game. He could speed up the game, slow down the game. He was just a great defenseman all around. And really, without Doug Harvey, Bobby Orr probably wouldn't be able to do what he was able to do. Best goalies, I've picked 4. For me, the best goalie, the best money goalie in the NHL ever, and definitely of the Canadiens, was Patrick Roy. Close second, Ken Dryden. Right behind him, Jacques Plante, the inventor of the goalie mask. He got a puck in the face one game, and he had been working on this mask, and I believe the coach was Dick Irvin, didn't want him to use it. Might have been Toe Blake, I'm not sure who the coach was. And he refused to come back out. They carried only one goalie in those days, and he refused to come back out and play without his mask after getting stitched up. The coach had no choice, let him out, and that changed the game forever. And goalies started to wear masks. Excuse me. Right behind Jacques Plante, I have Carey Price, our current great goaltender. He has a few records. Most wins. He is third all time, I think, for shutouts. Carey Price, great goalie. Still no cups. I get it, but still deserving of being in that mention of the best goalies ever here. Best seasons ever for the Montreal Canadiens. 1976, 77, 68 and 12. That was their record. They were first in the league, won the Stanley Cup. 1977, 78, 59, 10, and 11. Not too bad, not too shabby as a second. They were first in the league, won the Stanley Cup. 1975, 76, 58, 11, and 11. They were first and won the Stanley Cup. I forgot my T there. That was part of those 4 in a row that they won at the end of the 70s. Started with, obviously, this one. I threw in an old one that was a good record. Percentage-wise, they only played 50 games in those days. 1943-44, 38, 5, and 7. And that 7 was those were ties, I believe, here too. They were ties, not shootout losses or overtime losses. They were first in the league, and they won the cup. That was a 6-team league, so a little bit different in those days. Just for a little different, this guy was a Hab. In case some people didn't know about these guys that actually played here, Tony Esposito played 13 games, so over one season before he was traded to Chicago. I don't remember who for. Glenn Sather, the legendary coach of the Edmonton Oilers, Coach Gretzky, and won all those cups there. Played here, I think, in 1974, 75, the year before they won the 4 in a row. I believe he played here that year. Alain Nasreddine, no, not a big name as a hockey player, but he's the current coach of the New Jersey Devils. He was drafted and played 8 games here for Montreal. John Scott, the big guy, we picked him up in some kind of a trade where I think we took his contract off of them, and they gave us a better deal or whatever. And he had a great first half and for him, and was like a leading vote getter for the All-Star game. So Montreal got him, and they played him for 1 game so that he could be in the All-Star game, but not in the conference that he had been playing for, the other conference, but he made it. So he played 1 game here. Carol Vadnais. Now, for your older people, Carol Vadnais was a really good defenseman. I think we traded him to the California Golden Seals. He wasn't the guy that we got Lafleur for, but I believe that's where they traded him. He played for Boston, I believe, New York Rangers. Really, really good defenseman. Passed away recently in the last year or so. But Carol Vadnais played 42 games here for Montreal. I don't think a lot of people knew that. Thomas Vokoun, who was a longtime goalie for, I believe, was in the Nashville Predators. Really good goalie. Played 1 single game here for Montreal where he got shellacked. I think 8 or 9 goals. They didn't pull him. They left him in. It was his first NHL game, I do believe, and then they traded him later on. So Thomas Vokoun, 1 game where he got shellacked. Goalies, records, wins. Carey Price, 348 wins, has the most wins for a Montreal Canadien goalie. Most shutouts for the Canadiens ever. George Hainsworth with 75. We're going way back for that one. Most shutouts in a season, 22, also for Hainsworth. Save percentage. Now you got to remember this. Save percentage was not kept for I think they started this in the 70s or the 60s. So the older guys, there's no save percentage, so I don't know. But of the ones that we know, Ken Dryden has a career .922 save percentage. Goals against average. George Hainsworth with a 1.78. Again, you're going back to the 1920s. Jacques Plante with a 2.22 for his career. And Ken Dryden right behind him with a 2.24. Longest playoff game for the Montreal Canadiens was, I want to say, in the top 10 for the league, and close, somewhere around 5. March 28th, 1930. A semifinal game, Montreal ended up winning 2-1 against the New York Rangers. 68-52 of overtime, so that's more than 3 periods of overtime, almost 3.5. Gus Rivers scored the winning goal. Imagine playing almost 4, like in your 4th overtime period. Amazing. I think that's it for this board. I got one more board. We'll go over that. Just hang on a sec. All right, we're back with the second board, and we've got biggest comeback in the Habs history was against the New York Rangers, February 19th. I don't know why I'm looking down there. 2008. They were losing 5-0, and they came back to win 6-5. I will remember that game for a long time. I was working, and I didn't actually see it, but I was listening on the radio. I was delivering pizzas. And it was an amazing feeling for them to have done that. That's the biggest comeback they've had in their history, and with a long and, what do you want to say, long and glorified history, you'd think they would have had something like that happen earlier than that, but that's when it happened. Longest winning streak. Oh, by the way, that was in New York. So it was on the road where they did that. Longest winning streak. It was 12 games. They won 12 games in a row from January 1st, 1968 to February 3rd, 1968. Now, you got to remember one thing about that. That was when there's 6 teams. They brought in 6 more teams, expansion teams, and so they were playing against sometimes not very good competition that season. A couple seasons there. These are most per season. So for goals, most goals per season, 60 by Steve Shutt, which was a record for left wingers at the time, and Guy Lafleur also did it once. Assists, 82 by Pete Mahovlich. I guess I should have wrote what year, but 82 by Pete Mahovlich. Points, 136 points by Guy Lafleur. I do believe it was 56 goals and 80 assists. Penalty minutes, 358 penalty minutes by Chris Nyland. He set that. My animals are having a bit of an argument, so give me a second. All right, I think they worked it out now. Okay, so most per season, we were Chris Nyland for penalty minutes, 358 points for a defenseman. 85 by the great Larry Robinson. I remember that season. It was, I believe, one of those 4 Stanley Cup wins in a row. 85, not like there's been defensemen who've done better. I believe Bob Orr might have the most. Bob Orr, I'm going to say Paul Coffey probably had the most points per season of all time in the NHL. Rookie points, 71 by Mats Naslund, and the surprise by Shel Dahlin. I remember that now that I've looked it up. I remember that Shel Dahlin, that was probably, I think his rookie year was also his career season. And he was a good player, just not for a long period of time. So my animals again. Animals fighting over a dog bed. That's what's happening. The cat's in there and the dog doesn't want her in there. Okay. That's a little secret life of pets. Stats per game. Most goals in a game. 6 by Nuzi Lalonde. And that goes way back in like the... I don't know if it's the 1920s or just a little bit before that. Assists per game, 6 by Elmer Locke. My grandfather knew Elmer Locke, worked with him. He went to work at Maisland Transport when he retired, and my grandfather knew him. Points per game, per game, the most. 8 by Rocket Richard. That was, he moved all day long. He was tired and didn't want to play. Got 8 points. I believe it was 3 goals, 5 assists. And this one I didn't know. Bert Olmsted also got 8 points. I don't know the breakdown. But Bert Olmsted was a great player. Played with, a great player, a really good hockey player. He might have done that with Jean Beliveau, but I think he also might have played with the Rocket. I'm not positive. Most saves in a playoff game, 60 by Patrick Roy. The great Patrick Roy. Most Stanley Cup, no, maybe I'll leave that, no, I'll forget about it. Most Stanley Cups in a row, Montreal's done it twice. They've had 5 in a row from 1955-56 to 1959-60, And then they almost, like, they got 4 in a row, and then everyone left, so they couldn't carry on. 1975, 76 to 78, 79. Saw all of them, obviously. After the 79 season, I believe Cornway, Ken Dryden, Scotty Bowman, and somebody else, they left the team. So the team was kind of like, we're not the same team anymore, and they could not challenge for that 5th cup in a row. It was too bad. Career. So this is career stuff. Most seasons, 20 by Henri Richard, the Pocket Rocket. Most games played, 1,256, again by Henri Richard. Most goals, 544 by the Rocket, Maurice Richard. Most assists, 728 by my guy, Guy Lafleur. Most points in a career, 1,246 by Guy Lafleur. Most penalty minutes in a career, 2,248 by Chris Nyland. Chris Nyland was one hell of a, I guess you call him a policeman, whatever they called those guys. I forget back then, but he was great. I love Nyland. He's on the radio here now, and yeah, he's just a great guy. Ironman streak in a Habs uniform, 560 games by Doug Jarvis. And I remember, I think he got injured. That's how it ended. I remember that when it ended, and it was such a disappointment because this guy just never, he was always there. Great defensive center, 3rd-line checker. I think he was a center. And yeah, he was there before Guy Carbonneau. I think Carbonneau took over from him. Stanley Cups, most Stanley Cups in career, but not just playing, is 17. That's by Jean Beliveau. He had 10 Stanley Cup wins as a player. Second, that was second most in, I think it still is second most in a career in the league. And he had 7 as an executive for the Canadiens. Most Stanley Cups as a player, again, Henri Richard with 11. 11 Stanley Cup rings. Too many for his hands. Playoffs. They made the playoffs 83 out of 102 seasons. That's right up until last season. If they make the playoffs this year, it will be 84, with an asterisk, because if they do, it's because of the special circumstances, right? They went to 24 playoffs in a row from 1970, 71. Right up until 93, 94. In that span, they won 8 cups, and that 4 in a row was in there. 21. They also had a 21 playoffs in a row from 1948-49 right up until 68-69. In that span, they won 10 cups, and that 5 in a row was included there. So there you go. There you go. There you have it. That is the very best of the Montreal Canadiens and their history. From when they started. I didn't go into the NHA days. It doesn't seem like they had a very good record anyway. I looked at it and wasn't anything to report on. So it's just from the NHL. That's the very best of the Habs. So thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, give a thumbs up. Why don't you head down there if you haven't already, subscribe, ring that notifications bell. It's going to get you your daily fix of Blue, Blanc, Rouge right here, Talking Habs. And please leave any comments you may have about these things in the comment section. I do read all my comments, and that's it. So thanks everybody for watching. Please stay safe, stay healthy, follow the guidelines that you are hearing from health professionals, not from orange-faced and headed, pumpkin-headed, whatever you want to call them, from guys that are supposedly leading a country. You can listen to our prime ministers telling you the truth mostly. And just listen to that. Stay home. Stay safe. Wash the hands a lot. And see you next video. Peace out, y'all.